Joining us now is Okpe, Okpe, whose story is trending around the world. Hello,
I heard you introduce me with my full name. This time around,
it's your name.
Abbreviation.
I mean, you know,
yes, it is my name.
Proud of it.
I am very proud of it. Good morning, Dr. Abati.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good morning, lady in fuchsia. You will not tell me it's purple.
It's
because
no, it's cerise.
I don't say it. That's just a fact. It is a fact. This is cerise.
Do you know what, Tundu? I remember that you had short hair before, like last week, and where did it go? I want to know
where it went. I rotate.
Good morning, Rufai.
Hi, good morning, Audrey. How are you?
I'm doing
How's it
excellent.
going?
Very well,
Good?
thank you.
Voilà.
Very well. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United Kingdom, royal sources allege that the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, may not attend the unveiling ceremony of the statue in his late mother's honor to commemorate the 20th anniversary of her death on July 1st. Prince Harry is reportedly demanding that his wife, Meghan Markle, be an official part of the ceremony before he attends. In the United States, outrage as North Carolina sheriff's deputies were justified in the fatal shooting of Andrew Brown Jr. On Tuesday, the district attorney said Andrew Brown's actions caused the three deputies to believe that it was necessary to use deadly force to protect themselves and others.
Mr. Brown's death, while tragic, was justified because Mr. Brown's actions caused three deputies with the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Office to reasonably believe it was necessary to use deadly force to protect themselves and others.
In India, the shocking tale of a 78-year-old coronavirus patient, Shakuntala Gaikwad, who was declared dead by paramedics but woke up just moments before she was set to be cremated, has made the rounds. In South Korea, the wife of the Belgian ambassador, Jean Chechot, has claimed diplomatic immunity after allegedly slapping a store assistant who accused her of stealing a jacket back in April. In Nigeria, the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has launched the first and last mile bus scheme, which is designed to operate a cashless payment system for all public transport modes in the state. Under sports, 23-time Grand Slam champion Serena Williams crashed out of the WTA tournament in Parama after she was beaten in her second-round match by Czech Republic's Kateřina Siniakova. Finally, under entertainment, the newly crowned Miss Universe, 26-year-old Andrea Meza, has been forced to deny that she is married after wedding pictures emerged that could strip her of her beauty title. And it's a girl. 50-year-old British supermodel Naomi Campbell on Tuesday announced the birth of her daughter on Instagram, setting social media abuzz. Well, congratulations to supermodel Naomi Campbell. She's been a part of our Rise family for years now. Let's begin what's trending with this video that captured the moment a radio host, who's also a human rights activist, Ahmad Isah, also known as Ordinary President, slapped a woman during an interview after she confessed to setting her brother's daughter on fire. Let's take a look.
What is your name?
My name is Susan.
So, why you tie that pikin hand and leg, pour am kerosene, light fire?
Honestly, sir, I don't know what entered me that I do that. I don't even know what the time when the thing happened.
Madam, I'm going to ask you again. Who told you that child, that little child, is a witch?
Nobody told me anything about that.
Madam, tell me the truth now. I will give you one last chance.
As the thing happened, me, I don't know how come the thing happened like that.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Tundu, so many questions here. Ahmad has done so well for himself. He's had this radio show where he's been, he's been very active in a lot of problems in Nigeria, helping a lot of people get money and justice for their issues. Now, I don't know what happened here with him. He hosts this show called Brekete Family Show in Abuja, and he's been doing so well. This is completely unacceptable, what he did. To think that he fights for human rights, I can't believe he did that.
This is assault.
Yes.
That's a criminal offense in Nigeria. He should not have done that. Obviously, the conversation that he was having with that woman is so chilling. What she did or what she's accused of doing is heinous. But how does slapping her get justice for her victim?
Correct.
This can't be justified.
Yes.
Really.
Apparently, he's even raised almost 2 million naira to help the girl. The girl didn't die, thank God. She's still in the hospital. And he's already raised $2 million naira to help her with all her burns. But, I mean, I don't know what happened here with Ahmad.
Okay, first, let's look at it from the perspective of journalism.
Yes.
Journalists must realize that there are certain lines that they cannot cross. Mm-hmm. Most recently, we had the example of P.S. Morgan, who walked off the set, who got angry, who got emotional. And I'm in this studio, I'm probably the only person who remains a fan of P.S. Morgan, not because of his conduct, but because of his career. And now we have this, Ahmad Isah, who founded Brekete, family radio and TV magazine program in 2009. And then in 2011, he established his own radio station, 99.9 FM in Kaduna, 101.1 FM in Abuja. And over the years, he's been able to achieve a lot with it. It's a non-profit, radio station supported by the Open Society Initiative of West Africa, OSIWA, also supported by the MacArthur Foundation. In fact, about 2 years ago, MacArthur Foundation gave that radio station as much as almost $700 million. Now, why? Because he fights corruption. His headquarters in Abuja is called Human Rights Radio. The station is involved in research and investigation. It is described as the voice of the voiceless. So basically, this is a human rights radio, the first of its type in Nigeria. And, Ahmad Isah has been able to do a lot with it. Pidgin is majorly the language that is used on a daily basis. And Brekete is particularly popular. So popular that as a presidential spokesperson, we also had to be engaging Brekete. And under this administration, I think the vice president has also paid some attention to that station because it's so popular. Now, this is the lowest moment for Ahmad Isah because he's trying to correct a wrong. He committed another wrong in trying to commit that wrong, correct that wrong. So I think he got emotional. And I think there is a lesson for us all, who operate within the media space, that you cannot act as the judge and the jury, even when you are dealing with matters of public interest or matters of human rights. What happened to handing over that lady to the police? Ahmad Isah cannot constitute himself into a policeman.
He actually had the police arrest her and brought her to his studio.
But they cannot determine the punishment. Slapping her, assaulting her, amounts to excessive behavior. And I hope that, if the young lady wants to, she can, although she may have committed, some kind of felony, she can also press charges because one wrong cannot correct another wrong.
Right.
But the starting point will be for Ahmad Isah. He calls himself Ordinary Ahmad Isah at Brekete Connect. He also calls himself Ordinary President. Okay, whether he's Ordinary President of Human Rights or Substantial President, he also has no right to break the law.
Apparently, there has been a lot of reports to the NBC, Rufai, and they have said that he's been conducting himself inappropriately. Rufai.
I know him very, very, very well, like the back of my hand. And I said that deliberately. Ahmed Musa, great work he's doing.
Ahmad Isah.
But it's an indication of the failure of the states to give justice to people. And that's why people have become lords unto themselves. There have been many reports, not only this case, so many reports about going overboard in the name of giving justice to people. And we should be very careful here because it's so easy to cross the thin line. There's a clear case of hubris here. And let's be very careful. You wonder if we have a human rights commission that is working, Ahmad Isah should not be the judge and jury. If you watch this case very well, Oji, he called the police effected an arrest and brought the lady to him. Who is he for them to be bringing the lady to after police effected an arrest? They should have taken the lady to the police station, probably if they're going to charge her. Then the police officers were there with their guns. He now started his own interrogation, beat the lady in front, hit the lady in front of the police officers. Nothing can be done because everybody fears Ahmad Isah.
Well,
people cannot become government unto themselves. And that's where the case of the failure of government comes in. Government should be able to fight for the fundamental rights of people. And if you are even doing that, it's for you to pass the case on to the authorities. Let's not condone recklessness because he has done good in the past, because this is what destroys the country. So people have become, they are so big, they are bolder than the law. I'm not saying he's not doing a good job. But when he's done wrong, let's call him out for what he has done. He's done wrong. You think MacArthur Foundation are giving $350,000 to set up that same media house in 2 rounds of funding? We'll be happy with him. Let's call a spade a spade. Right. What he has done is terribly wrong. You have the right not to hit anybody for this.
Yeah, the woman indeed committed a heinous crime, but he had no right.
And the fact that he gets so powerful that in the middle of a light show he can call a government official and the next day they come pandering to him, it's an indication that we failed. The judicial system is supposed to handle all of this in the first place.
All right, Rufai.
Well,
for me, it's hubris.
It's called Hebelembe. If you listen to Brekete Family Radio, the standard phrase is Hebelembe, and they have a procedure. The procedure is that first, if you are bringing a case to the radio station, you must first go to a high court to swear to an affidavit. Then after swearing to an affidavit, the matter is brought before the radio station. And it's not the only program of that type. There are many programs on TV stations, or radio stations elsewhere. It's just that this is a very popular one in the northern part of the country, where the original principle is to defend the defenseless, to give voice to the voiceless.
Right.
And there's a way in which government is involved in it, because you must start the process through the High Court. But of course, that in no way justifies the excessive behavior of ordinary President Ahmad Isah.
Right. Apparently, people wait in line for years to be on his program.
Yeah.
Let's take another story. The family of Peju Ugboma, who died in what a lawyer called suspicious circumstances following an elective fibroid operation in April, are demanding accountability from Premier Specialist Medical Center at a press conference in Lagos. Alongside their lawyers, the Ugboma family have laid out their initial plans to get answers to their questions over negligence and malpractice. Arise correspondent Aide Kingsanya reports.
For the family of Peju Ugboma, who died following an elective fibroid surgery in April, the journey to justice has begun. At the offices of Alisa Agbakoba Legal in Ikoyi, her widower, Ijoma, made his first public appearance, and in it, he set the record straight about his wife's health condition before she entered Premier Medical Specialist Center.
I'll say categorically, and with records from several hospitals, my wife had no pre-existing condition. But nonetheless, if she had a pre-existing condition, even if she were hypertensive, the doctors ran sufficient tests on her before the surgery for them to have made a good decision, especially with the fact that the surgery was elective. If she was too hypertensive to operate on, they should have left her. Absolutely. Yeah, because it wasn't a life on. If my wife hadn't gone in for that surgery, I'm sure she would have probably been home baking right now.
Emotions were high, with Peju's loved ones laying blame for her death squarely at the feet of the involved doctors at Premier.
She wasn't given a fighting chance. She complained of her tummy aching. She complained of pains, and she was ignored. The surgeon was not there. How do you do such a surgery and you take a walk? It's because you're being mean. Arrogant. And you're not thinking about how that patient feels. And for you, it is just business as usual. But guess what? Someone's life is not just business as usual. So you have to pay for it. You will pay with everything you have. You will pay with your license. You don't have the right to even cut a human being again. You don't. And honestly, justice must be served. The doctors must be punished. They cannot go scot-free.
At this point, the family says there's one form of compensation they're interested in.
If Premier can resurrect her. That's the only compensation. That's the only compensation. The point has been made that this is not about money. It's about setting aright the decrepit healthcare process and system, not just in Premier, but in Nigeria.
The legal team plans to do that with requests for an inquest, investigations and inspections.
We've petitioned the Nigerian Medical Association. We've also petitioned the Nigeria Medical and Dental Disciplinary Council of Nigeria, obviously wanting to investigate. We've also petitioned the Attorney General of Lagos State. We've also written to the Executive Secretary of the Lagos State Facilities and Monitoring Accreditation Agency. That's the agency that gives hospitals its license to operate. So we're requesting that they investigate and temporarily close the hospital pending the investigation, the outcomes of the investigation. We've also sent a petition to the Consumer Protection Council, because at the end of the day, we're still consumers of the medical business, as it were. And we've also written to the Lagos State House of Assembly, asking for a public hearing to basically talk about the health reforms for Lagos State. And of course, in her honor, we're titling that the Peju Ugboma Health Reform Initiative.
Ijoma says he's in this for the long run.
I think there's always a turning point. If you drive it hard enough, there's always a turning point. Because a lot of people have walked the road I'm walking now, and they decided to turn back halfway. So, I mean, let's test the process.
No, we are not going to stop this thing halfway. The only thing is that we need the support of Nigerians as a whole. It's not just me, it's not just you. Let us do the proper thing. So tomorrow, we'll be confident. Some of us who are married, we know what we go through when our wives have to go for very simple medical procedures.
And as for Premier itself, the lawyers say there are many causes for concern.
In the course of the preparation, they would notice that she's a red blood type. Now, the type of operation that she went for is usually associated with a lot of loss of blood. Why didn't they have a blood bank? It beggars belief that they didn't have blood on standby. It was only when things became bad that they had to tell the husband, go get blood. They didn't have a CT scan. They didn't even have an ultrasound scan. If you're cutting somebody, abdominal cut, it presupposes that something might go wrong and you need to go right back in. Now, to understand what's going on, you've got to do an ultrasound scan. Post-op requirements require that the surgeon would pay a patient visit. There was none. So, on the basis of all of what I have seen and read, and on the report of Evercare that ends with, I can send you a copy if you want, that ends with the word, this is a case fit for the coroner. That is an indictment.
In between the legal arguments, discussions over medical negligence, and calls for reform, there's a husband who just wants his wife back. Unable to get that, he says he'll settle for justice. Aide Akinsanya, Arise News, Lagos.
Dr. Abati, we must commend the legal team who's chosen to take up this matter to challenge the decrepit healthcare system in Nigeria. I mean, I cannot believe that a woman who's gone in for an elective surgery will just die in the manner in which she died. It is so shameful, and I am waiting for justice for these people, for the family, Ugbona's family.
Well, it's a very painful situation, not just for Mr. Ugboma, our husband, or the Ugboma family, but also for our friends. When we took this subject 2 weeks ago, the point that was made at the time was by Mr. Ugboma that he was going to pursue the matter and seek legal redress. And that's what we have seen. That's the latest development. And I hope that, other Nigerians will learn from this particular case, because this may end up being a major, what do they call it, a locus classicus with regard to the law on medical ethics.
Yes.
People who work in the medical profession, they have a duty of care. And when they don't exercise that duty of care, they are guilty of negligence under the law of torts. And you can see that that's the direction in which the lawyer is going.
Yes.
And counsel is saying that this is not about money. It's about justice.
Correct.
It's about proving a point about negligence on the part of medical practitioners in Nigeria. Many families have suffered a similar fate, as Mr. Ugboma pointed out. Even at the time that Mrs. Ugboma's case occurred, there was also another case in Arepo, Ogun State. And we had the same week, justice for Peju Ugboma, justice for Omolara, and it happens every day.
Correct.
Many of the cases are buried. And we just hope that, the Lagos state government will take the matter seriously. About 8,000 friends of Mrs. Ugboma have signed a petition to the Lagos state government. Council, the second council, pointed out that they have also approached the Nigerian Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, which has the responsibility also to enforce disciplinary action. There's also a role in this for the Nigerian Competition and Consumer Protection Council, which under its Enabling Act, can also protect the interests of consumers. Do you know how many people have died in this country just because they were mistreated by doctors? There are even famous examples. And in this particular case, Mr. Ugboma said he sought a second opinion, which is a legitimate thing for a family to do if you have an individual. And it was a doctor in London who was advising these premier specialist doctors that, look, they should take her back to the operating theater because blood will have accumulated within her stomach. They rejected it.
Unacceptable, Dr.
And then, of course, this tragedy occurred. So the anger of Mr. Ugboma, the Ugboma family, and the friends of Peju Ugboma, one of the leading pastry chefs in Nigeria, is entirely justified. And I think we should thank Adefemi Akistanya, for bringing up this matter and for reminding us that this is a serious case that cannot be allowed to be swept under the carpet.
Very well said, Dr. Bati.
Heartbreaking.
We'll take our final story. Abidemi Rufai, who is currently a former aide to the governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, set Twitter abuzz on Tuesday after reports of his arrest in the United States over alleged unemployment benefit fraud surfaced online. The 42-year-old political aide, who was appointed by the governor in August 2020, was arrested by the Federal Bureau of Investigation last Friday at the John F. Kennedy Airport in New York, following accusation from acting U.S. Attorney Tessa Gorman that he used the identities of more than 100 Washington residents to steal more than $350,000 in unemployment benefits from the Washington State Employment Security Department during the COVID-19 pandemic last year. Following the report, the Ogun State governor suspended Abidemi and described the situation as disturbing on Tuesday, stating that he cannot be held responsible for the actions of his aide. Abidemi Rufai is scheduled for a detention hearing today. Tundu, our lawyer here, he's allegedly facing up to 30 years in jail for wire fraud. I mean, this is incredible what happened to this man. He's almost like a hush puppy now, or even worse.
Well, the Nigerian Constitution has a presumption of innocence.
Yes,
OG.
I know that. I'm just saying
Section 36 of Section
story
5.
started.
Yeah, so I'm not going to get into that. So does the American Constitution.
Yes.
That's the Sixth Amendment.
Yes.
So he's presumed innocent until he's convicted by courts of law. Right now, he's been charged with this offense. And now you made this point that the governor is sort of, distancing himself.
And
well,
suspended him.
He cannot be blamed for the actions of somebody else. And I think the suspension is in order, rather than summarily dismissing him because of that presumption of innocence that we have here. And I also think that it's very important to act. You cannot, if he had failed to act, if the governor had failed to act at all, it would be as if he's condoning a wrong. If you don't explicitly condemn a wrong, then you're tacitly condoning it.
Correct.
So he was in order to suspend Abidemi Rufai, but now he has to face the music. There's been a huge amount of fraud all over the world with regards to COVID-19. A lot of people have made a killing. So governments all over the world are going after these people. The U.S. government, there's about $600 million in fraud.
Yes.
So they're trying to recoup that money, and rightly so. But I want to say a word to the people that have been hearing a lot of sort of judgment of Abidemi Rufai. I have to say, many Nigerians who are pointing those fingers have gone to the U.S. using somebody else's passport. Many of the Nigerians pointing fingers have committed medical fraud in the US, in the UK, all over the world. You know you don't pay taxes. You know you don't have insurance. You go, you have medical treatment of some sort, and you don't pay, and you're pointing fingers at somebody else. No, we need to clean up our act. This is one of the many reasons why being a Nigerian raises eyebrows. If you introduce yourself abroad as a Nigerian, the first thing that your associated with is fraud. This is exactly why offenses like this offend me. Offenses like this, and even what we see as lesser offenses where people are not charged, maybe you just will not get a visa next time, but it's equally disturbing and it's equally damaging to our reputation as Nigerians.
You cannot be more correct, Tundu. Dr. Abati, your analysis on the story.
Okay, I'll try to be very brave so that maybe Rufai can also get the word in.
Yes.
The first is, well, Rufai, this week we've been dealing with the Rufai.
I wasn't going to go to Rufai.
So I had to check to be sure that this is not a relation. And I know that the one in Kaduna that has been fighting labor is also not your relation.
Yes.
But that's on the lighter side. I think the person that I sympathize with is the governor of Ogun State. Because, Abidemi Rufai, who knows him? You know, maybe one of the lucky big boys, as he's been described. But each time they write his name, they will put it there and say, Dakwa Abiodun's aide. And that's the kind of collateral damage that government suffers, that political leaders suffer when they appoint persons. And maybe perhaps there is failure at the level of scrutiny, security scrutiny. But I think I agree absolutely with Tundu that, you know, the Ogun State government has acted swiftly to say that the Ogun State government does not in any way condone any kind of criminality and that Abidemi Rufai stands suspended. I also agree with the point of view that this is eventually about Nigeria. Before now, we had Invictus and others. After that, we had Hush Puppy.
Hush Puppy.
And then we have now Abidemi Rufai and so many other cases of Nigerians who continue to give the country a bad name, either it is in Indonesia or in Saudi Arabia or in the United States. I hope that, you know, people will learn from this, that, look, if you do the crime, you must be prepared to also do the time, you know, and that's very important. However, I also agree with the point of view that nobody should be proven guilty until they've been, you know, until their innocence has either been established or otherwise. It's already been taken to court, and I hope that it will get, you know, it will go through the judicial process. But beyond all of this, the details about theft of, you know, social security numbers across the United States,
for me to
about, you know, use of other people's identities. These are things that have been out there and in which Nigerians have been involved over the years. And I think it's unfortunate that Nigerians continue to be associated with wire fraud, with electronic fraud, with all kinds of scam. Because at the end of the day, it's the green passport that suffers.
Rufai, a quick comment from you.
I mean, for me, Oji, I would like to question what process throws forward our political aids. That's a question we should ask ourselves, because this is not the first time we're going to hear somebody politically exposed has done something this terrible. So what processes throw up our political aids? And how can we assure that we do a proper background check that is only the best of the best we get? Because I know in this same country, where we have a political aide engaging in wire fraud, we have a lot of young Nigerians that are graduates that have done very well for themselves, that are ready to serve, and they never get the opportunity. So what is the process that throws up political aid? Could it be because of money, or contributions, or intellect and the willingness to serve? There's no how we can disconnect this from the process that throws up our political aids. I know it's quite sad on the governor. The governor has come out to suspend, but the truth is, no matter how you say it, you still say it's the political aid of the governor, or the aid of the governor. And this person is being paid for by taxpayers' money. So the shocking thing here is the fact that we have a country where we have aides that are paid for by taxpayers' money that engage in crime. So we need to look at our political process critically. And this is a wake-up call for all of us. If we are right-thinking, we should never have someone like this even slip through the political cracks in this country. And it's not only Abidemi Rufai. There are millions of political aides out there, and they are lucky big boys that we can't really pinpoint what do they do for a living.
Apparently, Rufai, this case goes beyond even unemployment fraud.
Yeah.
He's also been charged with like identity theft.
Yeah, so and these are the people with all sorts of criminal records that come back from America and they become politicians here or political aides. Probably, maybe 10 years, 15 years down the line, if it wasn't stopped, he might probably be vying for governor in the States. That's the predicament, and that is the problem with Nigeria.
Well, he already has posters out there. His ambition is to go to the House of Representatives on the people of Ijebu Central Federal Constituency.
Dr. Abati, God bless you. You said it all.
So he could have ended up in the House of Representatives. But even more disturbing is the revelation by the investigators that there is a ring, a criminal ring of Nigerians called the Scattered Canary. You know, with location in Nigeria and in other parts of the world. And this particular guy, they say, calls himself Sandy Tang. That's his name. Apparently, you know, people who get involved in these things don't use their names.
No, he wouldn't use
so
his name.
Mr. Sandy Tang, a.k.a. Bidemi Rufai. Abidemi Rufai. Well, let's hope that the law will take its course and justice will be done.
Well, thank you, guys. That's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you
very much, Ojineka.
See you tomorrow.